So tell us a little bit about the different statuses you've had in Canada.
I came to Canada in 2004, and then with my mother and my sister from Mexico, and I applied for refugee. On 2006, my refugee was denied, and then after that, my mom and myself decided to do an appeal. 7 weeks after, my appeal was denied, and then I applied for the PRAV, the pre-removal risk assessment. Shortly after that, it was denied also, and then I overstayed in Canada I was supposed to be deported on 2007, on December 2007, and I did, with my mother and myself, we decided to stay in Canada until 2008 when we were put in a holding center for a week. I was in there for a week. My mother was there for 2 weeks. After that, we were deported back to Mexico on February 2009. I came back to Canada due to some situation that happened to my family back home and the risk that we were experiencing. And I applied for a humanitarian and compassion grant application. On 2011, my application was accepted, and then on 2013, I became a permanent resident.
Good. So tell me a little bit about the 2 years you lived without status, or yourself or in other people that are living without status. What are some barriers that you face without status? And you can talk about all the different areas you want.
So when I was non-status, one of the, I would say the bigger personally was education and health. Due to the stress, the anxiety that I was facing, even though I was young, I was aware of everything, and I was aware of what was happening because I had to translate any immigration document to my mother, and I had to be in all the meetings with the lawyer, so I knew exactly what was happening, and I knew what the consequences of us being non-status. So I started experiencing seizures, I started being sick, I started having panic attacks, anxiety, and not being able to go to a hospital or not being able to get medicine was one of the biggest challenges for us. I have 2 seizures at home which were not being able to seen by a doctor because my mom was scared to take me to the hospital, and then the hospital would be calling immigration or giving us a high bill. It was on the 3rd time when my mother really needed to take me to the hospital, and we were thankful that they took me to Sick Kids Hospital, and then she talked to a social worker and told the social worker what was happening with me, and they were able to somehow help me be able to see a neurologist and get some medicine. But still, health was an issue for my mother and for my sister. During that time, my sister had an accident with a TTC driver, hit her. She was in the hospital, and she had to use someone else's name because of that, because she didn't have status and she didn't have health coverage. So health was a big issue. Also accessing Ontario Works. We had no service or not help whatsoever. It was really difficult for my mom. I was a single mom, to be raising to my sister and me, and her not having the language, not having the support of any government organization. It was really hard for her. I remember she would have to work in the day and in the nighttime so she could be able to afford the housing, to be able to afford for my school. I was thankful enough that when I was non-status, I was in high school, and my mother spoke with my principal and told my principal the situation, and she told her that I was not gonna come back to school, and she told my mom that she didn't see a reason of why I should have to stay home and not get the education. So she said that she didn't really care that we were going to overstay in Canada, and she said that she wanted me to continue going to school because they knew how school was my only way for me to focus and to be out of that depression and to have something to live for, as we didn't know when I was going to get a status or what was going to happen to us. For me, those 2 years was living in the limbo. just not knowing if something was going to happen. It was really scary to walk down the street and not knowing if the police or someone was going to stop me and ask me for an ID, and what was going to happen. The continuous worry of us of getting something from immigration, or just immigration showing up to our doors. My mom became really worried, and she didn't really like that I'll be out. So most of the time it was me going to school and then coming home and staying home just there, because every time we will go out, she will always be really afraid. So that's my personal experience. Working at FCJ Refugee Center has given me the opportunity to learn to help others more than and to learn. And what I have seen with clients that I have worked with is the same pattern, the same scariness, the same fear, the same isolation and depression that they go to, that family breakout of kids that start questioning parents why they're here, if that promise when they made the decision to come to Canada, it's not there. That better life, that better education, that better job, it's not there. How they start facing discrimination, how they are not able to access any sort of help from any government organization or anything like that. So it's something that for a year I saw every day. And that breakup of families, just everything that comes with that, everything that comes with the status, how people's dignity and people's right are pushed down just because of a document, just because you don't have a status. I believe that people are here because of a reason, and no one really choose because they wanted to come to Canada. I believe that it's a stigma that people have outside, that when you come to Canada, you come with your permanent residence, your citizenship, and that you have access to anything and everything. And that's not true. Accessing something, it always has something, like you need to show documents, you need to show proof. So that stigma that refugees and newcomers just come here to take others' jobs or to use the system, it's something that needs to be considered, because it's not true. And just it's a community that don't want to be, we don't want a title. Even though now I'm a permanent resident, I will always say that I belong to the refugee community, and I will always be a refugee. And I'm thankful for the people that help me, and I'm thankful for what I have now. And now I want to help others. I want to help people that have been in my same situation or that are in my same situation to get something positive out of it. And we are here, and we're gonna stay. And it's sad that a status and a document make us value to the community and to any services, but I think we're strong, and we're gonna continue to be here. If you're a youth and you don't know your status, one of the suggestions or something that I would recommend is that you come to FCJ Refugee Center and you ask to talk to any staff, and they will be able to assist you, as there are multiple status in Canada. You can be a visitor, you can be a student, you can be a worker, you can be someone who's a permanent resident, a refugee, a protected person. So if you are unsure of what your status is, and just to be aware and to know your rights and to know what's best for you, I would suggest you to call the FCJ Refugee Center and ask to speak to someone so they can direct you.
Okay, and if you could tell, if somebody found himself in the same situation as you were so long ago and living without status, and it being a youth in Toronto, what advice would you give them? What words would you share with them?
To not give up. It's hard to not knowing where you're gonna end up. It's hard to be living in the limbo, but at the same time that there are people who mistreated us, and there are people who judge us because of where we come from and because we are here, there are other people out there that wants to help us. And one of the person that helped me a lot was the FCJ. So if you see yourself without status, there are hope. There is stuff that it cannot be guaranteed, but there are things that you can do. So just get any immigration help. Also, not if you know that you are non-students, to not disclose your information. To try to minimize the people that knows about it, as unfortunately some people out there can't use that. And if you get with them in an argument or something, some people can use that against you. And just be aware of your surroundings. Try to not commit any illegal crimes. Try to always be doing good stuff, and just get help. I think one of the things that it's really important is that some people believe that after just the refugee process and then you're denied, that there's no other option. There are other options, and just don't give up and don't lose hope. In my case, it took 10 years for me to get my permanent resident, and I think something that helped me and helped my family is that we never lost hope and we never give up, and we work. And I know it's hard, and I know it's difficult when you have a lot of doors closing you, but there's always the FCJ who will help you and who will guide you to the best place and give you the best option as they can.
Great.
I think this website is important because when I was in this situation, I had nowhere to go. I had nowhere to search what was my option. My mom was just getting information from the lawyer that sometimes wasn't the best that she received. And when we came to FCJ, when we started learning that there were possibilities for us and that there were more options out there, and that even though we didn't have we have been denied before, that there were more staff. So I think a website like this where youth can go on and find information for the parents, because I think a lot of us have to be the ones to get the information. Our parents could be busy working, or our parents cannot speak the language. So having a website for the youth where they can know that there is still hope, that there is still a lot of things that they can do, it's something that will benefit them. And also all that missed information that it's out there, that just we hear by friends, and then the friend tells the other friend. So it's good to have something that is, it's being given by someone that had been there, or someone that works with newcomers and refugees. So in my opinion, this website is something that will benefit a lot of people, and youth need this. Youth need to know that there's still hope, and there's still chances for them to get a legal status, as they will quote.